Hi again folks, how yous all doing? This is a Hornby Class A4 Mallard that was sent to me by Richard. He said he bought it and fitted a decoder and it ran but got stuck on curves with the motor spinning and the wheels not moving. That doesn't sound good. He then tried to take it apart to see what was up and ended up admitting defeat, especially with the pickups. And as you can see now, it's in a state of disassembly. So he asked if I could take a look to see why it was failing on curves and to get it back together. Jings. Okay, let's get it to the bench and we'll see what's what. I think we'll need the wizard again. Right, let's get a look at this Mallard. I think getting this back together will be easy enough, but I'm very curious about the problem Richard was describing. That it ran on the straight but going around the corners. The motor was spinning. I suspect a dodgy drive gear, but we shall see. Let's just get the chassis and stuff out. We'll come back to all the other bits and bobs later. So, I mean, yeah, these things are a bit of a fiddle, it has to be said, and I don't blame anyone for getting themselves into a bit of a tangle with them. Yeah, this has got itself into a bit of a mess. I think we'll need to dismantle it a bit before we get it back together. I want to get this drive axle out. Have a wee look at it. See if we've got any problems with the drive gear. Right, get that out. And that should come out. Let's get a look at it. Yeah, that's been the problem. The drive gear is spinning. You see that drive gear is loose. I'm not sure if it's cracked actually. Has it just come off its spline? You can see the spline there. Let's move it onto the spline. Yeah, I think it's just come off the spline. That's lucky. I really thought we had a split drive gear, but no, it just come off the spline. Right, pin socket is coming out a bit. That in. Is that loose? No, it's okay. All right, okay. That's all good news so far. Right. Yeah. So we'll give these a clean up, and we're okay. But I need to remember that these are the back ones, these are the front ones. That's the drive. Okay, so we'll give this a bit of a scoosh out. Just to get some of the old lubricant out. Make sure we've not got any splits in the double gear. That's it. Yeah, I think we're all okay. That's good. We'll get some fresh oil into there. It's not bad, it's not all dried up or anything. But a bit gear oil's called for. We'll get some oil down into the bearings. Okie dokie. Put this back on. Right, okay. Floaty wheels. So that's all fine. A couple of these rods are going to need straightened up. Got themselves a bit bent. But yeah, that all looks okay. Just going to put that to the side just now, and we will clean the wheels up. They're not bad actually, but since I've got them out, we'll give them a clean. So just like that, give them another wee scoosh. Okay. Okay. Now the fun starts. We're trying to get this all back together. Rear axle in. Fine. Then the drive axle. And then the front one. So then we'll get some fresh oil into the axles. Right, now, as ever, the problem with reassembling a model that's been disassembled is getting all the screws right, because I've not dismantled it. I haven't get the, I don't know which screw goes where, so it can be a bit of trial and error. But we need to get that keeper plate on. So what have we got here? There's that. There's the pickups. What I might do with these is put a wee blob of solder on them, just to make sure they make contact with the chassis properly. Some screws in there. We've got a decoder, which we'll leave off just now. We've got brake rods. We've got the front bogie and the body and the tender. So I think everything is present. Right, let's have a look at the pickups. Oh, that's actually already got a blob of solder on it. Somebody's been copying me. That one, I think, goes there. Solder's on the wrong side though, I think. It's better on the upper side. There's nothing to hold these pickups in place. That's unusual. Normally there's little little lugs to keep the pickups in position. There's nothing there at all. That's not good. Right. Okay. We'll try it at that. I've got one of those. It looks like it's been broken off from something. I'll investigate that. Okay. Get these screws in. Right. Make sure these pickups are in position. There's nothing to hold them in place apart from the pressure of this keeper plate, which means it's got to be screwed down tight. Right, wheels are free moving, pickups are okay. Don't like that middle one actually, it's poking out a bit, might be hitting the wheel. But I think we'll go with that for now. Link up the rods. It's on there, spacer on. Right, get that piston in. Get that main rod on. Get that down. It's fine, it's in decent position. Get the crank pin in. So this has got a drawbar with the contacts on it, and of course one of the wires is broken off, so we'll need to resolder that. But this should run because the socket is in the DCC socket's in the locomotive, so this should run independently. It doesn't need to be attached to the tender. So let's give it a test. Okay, power on. Away it goes. Nice. You can see there this wire's popped off the drawbar. Always happens. And it usually happens because the what's that, got stuck to the motor. A bit of wire. It usually happens because the wires are too tight and it just puts stress on them. So you've got to make sure the wires are routed correctly. Probably be easier to take the drawbar off and then watch the other wire will pop off. Need to scrape some of the paint away. So we'll tin that wire. There we go. To be honest, there's enough pickup from the locomotive itself, and you would probably never notice that wire was broken. But since I've got it, I'll fix it. But it'll probably break again at some point. Right. Just screw this drawbar back on. Okay. Just adjust these contacts on the drawbar. They're a bit mangled. And then that one. As I've said about these contacts on the drawbar many times, they want to be splayed slightly. They don't want to be straight or pointing inwards. They want to be pointing out the way a wee bit, and that ensures they don't cause a short circuit. Okay, right. Yeah, one or two of these rods are a bit bent. Let me just bend that one in a bit. Right, okay. We'll see how it goes at that. Right, I think we're kind of done with the locomotive. We'll hook it up to the tender and see how it goes. Just got a wee look at the tender wheels. Yeah, they're all a bit mucky. Need a bit of a clean. Just want to check for tender squeak. Yeah, it's a bit squeaky. We'll get some oil into it, I think. It's possibly pickup squeal. If you do get pickup squeal, then it's really bad. A tiny wee touch of oil on the inside of the wheel will stop it. I know some people use graphite powder. I don't like using graphite powder of any description. It's dirty stuff. I know some people rub them with pencils. It's the same thing. It's just graphite powder, and it works. You know, I think rubbing it with a pencil is not too bad. I prefer just to put a wee film of oil over it. You'll still get electrical pickup, and you won't get any squeal, and you're not going to be getting graphite powder anywhere. But whatever works. I'll give this tender a going over the dusty brush. It's looking a bit sorry for itself. Right, so the tender's good. The locomotive is just about done. We've got to fit the front bogie. I've got to figure out where this goes. Oh, there's a crank on that wheel. Oh, does this have a speedometer? Let's have a look at the body. Yes, it does. It's got one of those. And it's just the, at least it's not the silly plastic wire, it's an actual rod. So we'll need to undo that crank when we get the body on, fit that. But where does this go? Oh, it looks as if it's broken off of there. Not sure. I think we'll get the body on and then we'll have a look at that. This will be its usual fun and games, I think. Right, to fit this on, I'll need to move the wheels a wee bit. Get this crank off. Right, okay, and then this. It definitely looks like it was glued into there. But then where this went, I'm not sure. Oh, it goes in there. Ah, right, okay. Super glue, stick that in the wee hole. Right, is that in its wee hole? Yeah, right, okay, I think that's the best I can do with that. So that's these wee doodahs connected up. But to be honest, I mean, that little rod you can hardly see for the body shell. Fit the brake rods. Goes on the front there like so. Just do one side and then just tease them in on the other. There you go, it's the brake rods on. Right, okay. I think we're done. Give it a final wee test. It's pulling about 200 milliamps. So there we go, that's this Mallard sorted out. All back together and running fine. The original problem was just that the drive gear had slipped off the spline on the axle. Just slide it back over. Job done. Fortunately, it wasn't split or anything. Let's pull it out the shed. Okay, let's bring Mallard out. So there we are, that's Richard's Mallard sorted out. A displaced drive gear. Not come across that before. Seen plenty split drive gears, but not one just come off the spline on the axle. It seemed to be just as firmly in place as normal once back in position, so I can only think it wasn't fitted correctly in the factory and popped off at some point for some reason. Reassembling the model was easy enough, but yeah, if you're not used to these models, the pickups can be a right fiddle. So it's easy to get into a bit of a tangle with them. And for whatever reason on this model, there isn't really anything to hold the pickups in place, which adds to the problems. Off camera, I made a wee adjustment to the wheel spacing as it was just a wee bit too wide. And I'm going to open this up again to fit the decoder, and I'll test it on the rolling road using Sprog to check that it works under DCC okay, and then I shall get it backed up and sent back to Richard. Just before I go, Model Rail Scotland is on at the end of this month. I plan to be there on Saturday the 28th. So if you're going to be there too and you see me, please don't hesitate to come and say hello. Okay, folks, catch you later.